Hello? Hello? Hello, Luis.
Hello, Ljubljana.
Hello, nice to see you. Too bad you can't be here with us. What can we do? Did you like the exhibition, the photos I sent you?
Yes, it was very nice.
Okay.
It's still very nice.
Perfect. Well, the people I think also liked it, and it's like a nice little overview of your whole career. So we already talked once in Vodnikova domačija about a year ago. So I'm going to try to ask you like some different stuff, so we won't repeat ourselves too much. And I noticed that time I've been telling people a lot about, about new wave comics. I had like whole lectures about it, so people would get where you're coming from, and Ambaru and Fanny Del Rif, who are also here, where they're coming from. So I've been talking about a lot about l'association. And I noticed we didn't talk about it much, and I wanted to maybe, I don't know, ask you how it all came to be, because it's just such an interesting story, just a couple of people getting together, doing their own comics in a very different way, and growing into pretty much, one of the most important indie publishers in France or the world.
So it was in 1990. We were 6 founders of l'association. We found that in France there is not enough autobiographical comics and black and white comics. And we wanted to show that comics could be something else than historical comics or big nose comics. And we decided to build a little structure to do what we wanted to read and what we wanted to draw. And it wasn't very easy at the beginning, because we hadn't a lot of money, and it's expensive to publish books.
Yeah.
But we borrow a car of one of the mother of one of the founder to bring the books to the library, to the bookstore, and we sell the book to the bookstore. It wasn't a deposit. They have to buy it.
Anbara was just telling us about this. You refused to put it on, as we say, komisijska prodaja. You just you wanted them to buy the book and sell it.
Yes. 5 years later, we changed the system, because we worked with Fnac and many other big bookstore. So we have to change. But at the beginning, it was very difficult for us to do a publisher work and at the same time do artist work. Because when we have done the books for association, we weren't paid for it. We had 10% of the right, but 1 year after selling.
Okay. So the first year you don't get anything, you just get the basic fee.
Nothing. No, we have to work by the side.
Okay. I didn't know that. Okay. Why do you only get the money after 1 year?
Most of us, Kilo Fer, Jean-Christophe Menu, Mats Conture, and me, we were working for a small magazine called Psychopath. Maybe we earn 100 francs by page.
Yeah. Okay.
But we hadn't children, so it was easy to live with 100 francs.
But were you all living in Paris?
I was living in Paris. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That's even more expensive. Then.
Yes, it was.
Because what I found interesting is you wanted to do like black and white books and smaller formats and thicker books and so on, everything different from the usual.
We wanted to do black and white books because it was cheaper to print it.
Okay.
When it will many years later we have done color books, but it was 20 years later.
Yeah. Because I had a feeling that this sort of drawing that you guys were doing here, like really sort of easy, sketchy drawing, sometimes a little bit not like, you know, the Asterix type of drawing or like a Möbius type of drawing, but like very relaxed. Because that existed in France, but mostly in magazines, I think, in you know, like Charlie Hebdo or Harakiri or
yes.
not so
Yes,
much in
but
books.
it exists with many other cartoonists like Art Spiegelman or maybe Will Eisner.
Yeah, but outside of France.
Yeah. But in France, you can see artists like Fmur or Fred. There are few of them working with that kind of style. In fact, we were working. We were doing comics. Our style is like a writing. Our drawing is a writing.
Yeah. It's more of a symbol. It's not so much the depiction of reality. It's yeah.
We didn't want to impress with a very good drawing. We want to impress with good stories.
Yeah. And like when you started l'association, you were still not very adept at drawing. You hadn't drawn a lot. You only draw your first Lapinot comic later, right?
Yes, at the beginning, I didn't want to draw comics. I wanted to write stories.
Okay.
But I started to do Lapinot comics with 500 pages to learn how to do some drawing. And now I'm doing more and more drawing, and I enjoy to draw comics. But during maybe 20 years, it was very difficult for me to draw.
But yeah, okay. You're also writing a lot of scenarios now for other.
Yes. By the side, I'm writing for many different artists. Maybe I've done the half of my work with other cartoonists.
Cool. And how long did it take you to do this, like 500 pages of Lapinot?
I've done 423 pages during 9 months.
Wow.
Then I stopped because I thought it was okay. My drawing was good now. And during 1 year, I've done different kind of stories, and I tried to find a publisher, not for Lapinot but for other stuff. And then Jean-Christophe Menu and the other guy of l'association, I've seen the 400 pages, and they told me, hey, it's good, you have to finish it and we will publish it. And I said, we can't publish it, we don't have any money, and it's 500 pages. And it's not usual in France in 1992.
Yeah, to have such a thick book.
Yes, and during 2 or 3 months, I finished the book, and then print it.
Perfect. and like
but at the beginning, we printed 1,000 copies.
Okay, yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, that's very low for France. Yeah, for Slovenia, this is actually already okay. If you print 1,000 copies in Slovenia, it's.
But we didn't expect to sell all the copies. We thought we will sell maybe 200 or 300 copies.
Okay.
And now we have sold around 2,000 copies.
Okay. 2,000.
30 years later.
Yeah. Okay. 2,000.
For a very difficult book, it's very difficult to read Lapinot because it's black and white. It's small panels, 12 panels each page, many characters, many stories in the same space. It's not easy. And it wasn't done to be published. It was done for me just to
as an exercise.
To involve.
Perfect. But then you started doing other Lapinot stuff. Like, I mean, what was Slaloms was the one you got a prize for, right?
Yes.
That was what, your third or fourth Lapinot?
Yes, it was maybe the third one. But I went to every publisher house to sell Slalom, and no one wanted to do it. It was supposed to do it to be done in color. And finally, I asked l'association if they want to publish it because it was the last one I didn't ask to. And they said, yes, we won't be able to pay you, but we will do it. And we have a prize in Angoulême for the best young artist. And after, Dargo told me, oh, yes, your stuff is very good. We want to publish it now.
Cool. But that was in color. Dargo did it in color then. Yeah. I thought it was interesting, like, I don't know how, but like Dargo started publishing La Pinot in color, like around, I don't know, 96. And then slowly there was more and more stuff with Dargo, I remember, in this sort of style. Artists not necessarily from L'Association, but Christophe Blaine as well, and also, yeah, David B. and so on, who were doing this Poisson Pilote collection in Dargo. And that I thought was amazing. That was for me like the golden years of this. And it seemed like your La Pinot maybe opened the way for this, or not?
Yes, but I wasn't alone. I was when I was in Paris during a few years. We worked in a workshop with Christophe Blain, Johan Sfar, Émile Bravo, David Bay. And many others, and it was very. We worked a lot together, and it was very stimulating.
Oh yeah, the two ateliers that you had, like, right? Atelier Navak and then Atelier de Vosga. Yeah, that sounds really, really cool. Yeah, what I really like about the French comic scene is that you work together on stuff that's fun. You know, I remember talking to.
But we work very hardly because when people visit us at the atelier, they thought it will be very fun. We will have jokes and everything, but we were working every day.
Cool.
And they were very disappointed because they wanted to have laugh with us. No, sorry. We have to work.
Yeah. It's not like the old stories, about Termite Terrace, the Warner Brothers studios where everybody was playing prank jokes.
We were very serious.
Cool. But what I meant was you were making stories that were fun for you. Maybe not fun to make, but like your own author stories. Whereas, like, I remember talking to a guy in America, he said, oh, we have to work in teams all the time. It's horrible. I have a letterer, I have a colorer. I would like to do something for me on my own, alone, And with French, I like it that you can do stuff on your own, but in a collective. It seems like in L'Association and in this atelier, it was very much about a collective.
But we also work together later. Christophe Blain and Johan Sfar worked together on the books. Christophe Blain, Johan Sfar, on me, on Dungeon.
Yeah.
We work now with David Bay on a new Dungeon.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
We are very close. Was Emmanuel Guibert.
Yeah.
Worked with Johan Sfar. He writes to him stories, and Johan drew it. And it's Sardine de l'Espace. And Johan write a story for Emmanuel. And Emmanuel Guibert draw it. It's La fille du professeur. It's a game to play with us.
Yeah, that's lovely. I love that. Yeah. For those of you who don't know Emmanuel Guibert, who he's mentioning, you probably know him as the scenarist of Ariol, which is translated into Slovenian. This is sort of the reference point.
He's the president of Angoulême this year.
Oh, really? Okay, because he won one of the prizes in the. Oh, okay, cool. But Angoulême is not happening this year, really, huh?
No.
Yeah. Damn, it's bad to be president when it's being cut. Okay, so I wanted to ask you. Yeah, I saw that this sort of like this desire to play while doing comics and to do it in a team and so on. I noticed you still have it. I've been reading this wonderful publication called Atelier Mastodonte that you do with the cartoonists in Spirou. That I thought was also lovely. But you're pretending to work in an atelier together.
Yes, many people thought during years it was real. And many young students wanted to come to learn with us in the Atelier Mastodonte, but we said, I'm sorry, it's not real, it's fake.
Yeah.
But it was very funny to do it.
But in a way, it is real because you're sending each other these little strips and joking with each
we
other.
work together. Yes, we have a secret blog on internet to post stories or sketches, and we have to jump on one story on another story, and it was very fun.
And also what I like is people are constantly changing in Atelier Mastodon. Somebody comes in, somebody goes out. It's lovely.
Yeah. Yes, it was very free because if someone is bored with this stuff, he can stop and go somewhere else.
Perfect.
New people can come. But it was done specifically because it was for Spirou magazine. It wasn't done for books. It was to do a kind of animation of the magazine.
Okay.
We have done books later, but it was just for the animation.
For Spirou, which is a children's magazine, really more. Or,
yes.
Yeah. So this is sort of a strange feature in Spirou. It's the only thing that's not really for kids, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. The other thing I wanted to ask you, I've been sort of. I have to admit I didn't know the history so well up until now. I knew about lots of stuff, but now I had to research it. And I noticed that L'Association was present for like 10 years, from 90 until 2000. And then in 2000, all of a sudden, lots of stuff seemed to start happening. You published Comics 2000, Persepolis came out, and lots of stuff with Poisson Pilote. It seems like it was fermenting for a long time and then exploded into the French public space.
I don't know exactly because it was a strange. I think it's a golden age. But it was difficult because with Persepolis, with Marjane Satrapi, we sold many books. So suddenly we had a lot of money, and with the money, problems came.
Okay. You mean you started fighting amongst each other, or I mean,
yes, because at the beginning, Jean-Christophe Menu, it's the chief, but he needs us to do comics, to do pages, to do some. But with Marjane, he didn't need us anymore.
Okay.
So he said, I don't need you to choose the new books, the new titles. Go away, I don't need you. So it was the beginning of the fight.
Okay. Because I thought you were all bosses. You were all equal in L'Association.
At the beginning, we were choosing all the books together. But at the end, no. So we quite around 2006.
Okay. But right now, it's still like a whole team running it. I mean, Jean-Christophe Menu isn't in L'Association anymore.
Jean-Christophe Menu was alone during 5 years, and he lose a lot of money with L'Association because he was very radical, and he didn't do a lot of selling. And Marjane Satrapi stopped to do books, so L'Association almost collapsed.
Okay.
And when we come back, and he goes away.
Okay. And what put you back?
Not Jean-Christophe.
And what put you back on track now? How did you get back in the saddle with L'Association?
Sorry?
How did you find? How did you get back with L'Association? How did you save L'Association from collapsing?
L'Association is a real association. It means if we have some benefits, it's put on the new books, on the project, but it's not for us. It's not a capitalist structure. It's not a usual publisher.
You don't split the money you make, you invest it into other books. Okay.
So when we came back, we have, I don't know the word in English, adhérent. It means they paid to make alive the association.
Okay.
And that's the right to vote for the president or anything. So they vote for us. And then we have done new books for, I've done New Lapino, I've done many things.
I saw that you came back now from Dargaud. That's got to be good for L'Association, I mean, financially.
Yes, sure.
Okay, perfect.
But Emmanuel Guibert is still doing books for us. Emmanuel Guibert is a good setting too.
Ah, cool. Yeah, because La Guerre d'Alan and everything came out with you.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, I wanted to ask you. Yeah, I wanted to ask you maybe, you know, because as you saw, like along with your exposition, we were trying to do like a little bit of our own Ubapo thing to get into context with you, so we would have the same exposition. So I wanted to ask you, this is also a really interesting thing. Okay, I'm gonna again explain for people who don't. Ubapo means ouvrière de la BD potentielle, delavnica za potencialni strip. And it's a sort of like a playground with certain rules for artists, right? I mean, it's if I understand.
It came from Oulipo.
Yeah, from Raymond Queneau, right? And yeah,
yes.
From the literary phase. And it seems like, to me, it seems very interesting. It's basically, the idea is if you set up rules, this opens creativity, not inhibits it.
It's supposed to, not always. But, I discover I've done many Ubapo comics before the creation of Ubapo.
Okay, but not knowing.
Many authors of comics, like maybe you know Gustav Verbeek.
No.
He's done upside down comics. It's comics you can read this way, and if we return it, you can read it, and it's different stories.
Ah, okay.
But it was done at the beginning of the 20th century.
In the beginning of the 20th century, okay.
Yes.
That doesn't surprise me so much because there was lots of formal experiments then. I mean, even what Winsor McCay was doing and guys like that.
But doing Ubapo comics, it's interesting, but the best way to do it is to, when you read it, it's to forget the constraint. If you forget the constraint when you read it, it's good. If you have to tell the reader, hey, you know, I've done the comics by when I was jumping on a trampoline and drinking 2 beers every 2 minutes, and I've done the comics. Yes, maybe it could be good, but usually it will be shit. So you have to just to keep in mind, you will do comics, and it's not only formal. You have to be good.
Yeah.
But usually you can say too much liberty kills liberty.
Yeah, exactly. It's
if you have constraints, suddenly you focus yourself in a certain way, and you find new solution to create.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the tyranny of choice. If you have too much to choose, you can't choose. And it also seems a little bit like improvisational theater, you know, which we have here in Slovenia, where you would have somebody on stage and they would take cues from the audience, you know. They would tell them which elements they have to tell a story, and then they have to invent something. It's very similar, I think, to the Ubapo concept. And it also seems like very present in your work. I have a feeling like when I read your stuff, there's a lot of this sort of formal playing. I think it seems like you really enjoy that in the formalism, you know. Even now in Infinity 8, having stuff that's structured and that has certain
I like to play with comics in every way, drawing or writing. If I can do comics with other people, I'm very happy because I like to draw with people. I really enjoy to invent stories. So if I have to work with Johan Svar on Dungeon, it's good. If I have to work with 2 or 3 other people, it's good. And if I have to work with myself, I have to find new ways to improve myself, to have fun.
Yeah, it's also good because like so many times like people who work on comics, I think like work alone, and there's this like whole heavy thing. You're alone at the desk with your comics. It's all very heavy, and you envy people who are maybe, you know, like in bands playing music, having a direct contact with the audience, working with other band members. But here it seems to me like you managed to regain a little bit of this fun for comics as well. Because I noticed you also do some comics live with Atelier Mastodont in San Malo. I think I saw you do stuff in front of audiences. Yeah, cool.
Yes, we were a little bit frustrated because we weren't working together in the fake Atelier Mastodont. So when we meet together in a festival, we were happy to be together, and we wanted to do something together. And we get on stage, and we sung together, and we drew together in front of the audience to have fun.
Perfect. That's really good. I love it. And yeah, since you mentioned like writing Donjon with Joan Sfar, that was sort of like the third focal point that I wanted to make, because as you know, we published now one of the books of Donjon, or 5 books with Parade, and it's now the only thing we have by you for now in Slovenia. So I wanted to talk maybe a little bit about that for the readers. For me, it was very strange when I started reading Donjon. I knew lots of your stuff. I knew Joan Sfar's stuff. I was like a big fan. And then I started reading Donjon, and I was like, oh, this is a little bit silly. This is like some sort of like Cartoon Network thing. It's not, it's not very much fun. But I had my comic book shop, so I was forced to read more. And after I got like to the third one in Zenit, I was like, okay, but this is getting really good. And then I started reading Crépuscule, and by the third one I was like, this is one of the best things I've ever read. And then it really builds up, and then I was just obsessed with it for 2 months, just reading all of the chapters. And it's really interesting how it builds up from something that looks much more banal than much of your other stuff or Joanna's other stuff, and it builds into something really profound, like when you put all the pieces together, you know? Because suddenly you have this huge universe with, I don't know, Marvin the Dragon, and you see him when he's like a fit young warrior, and as a kid, and as a blind old man, and it just tells you loads about life.
It was not our goal, our purpose at the beginning. At the beginning, Joan was frustrating because I quit the atelier and I went to the south of France, and he wanted to do something with me. And during maybe 5 or 6 years, he sent me a beginning of stories to make me draw the comics. And I say always, oh no, it's not good, it's not interesting, no, I don't think so. And once he sent me a story of the duck, not a duck, but someone who in a dungeon. And I said, maybe it could be good, but I don't have time to do a new series of comics. Maybe we can do a Lapino comics with this character. And he said, no, I don't like a Lapino. I think it's too
you can try
like,
to say
conservative.
Too conservative. Okay, yeah.
I said, oh, okay. So I drew the comics. He sent me stories. I changed some things and I drew it. Then we have done the second volume.
For the first volume.
At the end of the,
for the first volume,
the second volume, Joan felt very frustrating because he wanted to draw also. And he told me, maybe I can draw something in Dungeon, but in the future with the character getting older. And I said, no, we don't have time. We just do new stuff with Dungeon. We don't have to do a Dungeon Crépuscule or something else. I said, okay, you're right. And he gave up. And 4 days later, he sent me faxes of the maybe 5 or 6 pages, and he've done it. And I say, okay, it's good. We have to do it. So we've done Dungeon Crépuscule, but as a joke, I told him maybe we can do something in the past. And he said, yes, we have to do it, and we've done it with Christophe Blanc.
Yeah, that one's wonderful. That one, I think that one's almost my favorite. I think because it's this third energy from Christophe coming in, and it's just everything connects, you know. Joan's,
yes, but it's a big improvisation.
Yeah. That's what I love it. You're still, even though it's a relatively commercial series, you're still keeping this sort of playfulness and experimentation. Because as I saw now, when you're writing new episodes, you're constantly experimenting. I mean, playing with how you do it. You write a couple of pages of scenario and switch and so on.
Yes. When we work together, we are going in holidays together because we don't appreciate holidays. We want to do comics all the time. And at the beginning, we went in holidays with our wife and our children, and we put them together. And by the side, we put a table on the pages, and we worked all the day. And we start. Usually, we do 2 or 3, maybe 4 books in the same time.
Yeah. Why? Just so you can switch.
Yes, and we draw 1 page, 2 pages, and we say, "Oh, I don't know now what to do. You have to do something." And
perfect.
we change the scenario, and it's very very fun.
Cool. But you arrange the basic idea of the story before, probably. You talk about the basic idea of the story.
I try to manage the structure of the story, but usually Johan Svar explodes it.
Yeah. But this is why I think it works so well, because I love Johan Svar's solo stuff, but I think he can sometimes he can drift away, you know? And your solo stuff I also like, but it can sometimes be a little bit formal. But whereas where you work together, it's a perfect combination of structure and dreaminess. Yeah, wonderful. I wanted to ask, I thought it was really interesting now that you're starting this sort of new donjons. And I've been following, you know, the forums of fans talking about it. And you can see they all want some sort of closure, you know? They all want, maybe they are going to finish the Zenith storyline. Maybe we are going to find out how Alexandra died and so on. And you come back and you just open new storylines everywhere. And I love it because that's the idea, I thought, of just opening stuff and making it more fun. Why would you want to finish, you know?
Yes, because when we've done Crepuscule, it happened 100 books later, and Potromine in the past happened 100 books before. And people thought we will do 300 books.
Yeah.
And we said, no, never. But they said, yes, you have to. And now we have do new series of Dungeon. It's called Dungeon Antipode. And
I read it.
It happened 10,000 books later.
Yeah.
or before.
Yeah.
So it would be impossible to join everything.
So you did it just to show people you're not going to follow numbers. Cool. But I love it how it disappoints expectations. You know, why would you want to close something? And I like it how you are also opening new genres. I noticed that like this far future donjon has a completely different tone. It's almost like a noir, hard-boiled 80s trashy thing. It's completely new, like totally new territory, almost unconnected to donjon.
We tried to avoid to be bored, the boring. We want always to new path to work on. And usually we forget what we have done. And when we work in holidays, we are maybe once we worked in Mexico, once in Greece, once in Italy, and we don't have all the books.
Yeah.
We forget many things, and after we have done the books, it's published, and the readers say, "I mean, it's impossible because something on something," and then we said, "You don't know everything because," and we said, "We have to find a way to make it real," and we invent new stories to prove the one we have written is real.
Perfect.
And possible.
Exactly. And this is what I like about it. It just seems it's a very Monty Python-esque way of just producing very absurd and very new things, but then including it in all the continuity. Yeah.
Yeah. But we really wanted to make character alive. We wanted to it's not only tragedy or comedy, it's both together. And people, the character have children, have sorrow, are happy. It's not Mickey Mouse, it's not Donald, and it's not hardboiled comics fantasy. It's everything.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, sometimes it can shift more into one direction, but it's constantly shifting. I love that. I mean, and how do you like when you create your characters? But you probably talk about that. I mean, do you ever like sit down and talk about what's Marvin about, or I mean, or if you invent a new character like Marvin the Rabbit, you know, do you sit down before and talk about should we put this guy in? What's he gonna do?
It depends on the story we wanted to write. If we want to do a new story with new characters, it's possible. We have maybe we have done 2 or 3 different books with completely new characters. We did not use them before and after. But usually people like to find a little connection in this universe to be involved in. So we try to just to think. It's like if we are children, we say we have built little plastic characters. We can do new stories with the characters. We have 10 years old. What will we do with Herbert and Marvin? I don't want to play with Marvin. I want to play with the Guardian, or I want to play with Red Marvin. Okay. So, do you have an idea of story? It can happen something or something. Oh yes, you can do it, and that's all. It's just energy. If we don't have fun together, we don't do it.
That's a really good principle, yeah, for keeping it fresh.
It's a luxe.
Perfectly. Yeah, it's a luxury that you can afford now that you're so well established. But I mean, the new books are selling as well, right? I mean, Donjon, now that it's come back, it's selling well, huh?
Yes, it's okay. It's not a big selling because it's difficult because we are doing heroic fantasy with funny animals.
Yeah.
So people who like funny animals don't like heroic fantasy, and people who like heroic fantasy don't like funny animals. So at the beginning, we thought nobody will buy the dungeon books. But finally, we find a little niche, a little percentage of the readers who like that. And all these readers are geeks and computer
nerds and
yeah.
Okay.
That's our readers are only geeks and computer fans.
And I hope other people as well. Okay. But yeah, interesting. Because it's always risky to do stuff that's sort of like in between genres, in between stuff. But I think it's just the best. That's the best stuff that can't quite be classified. I mean, the most interesting stuff I think happens there in shifts. Perfect.
But it's when you talk about selling, I think the first volume is now sold at 80,000 copies.
Yeah, wonderful.
20 years later. On the new books, 15,000 copies.
Yeah,
so it's really good, but it's not huge. It's good.
Yeah. It's not like the really big bestsellers, but that's great. I mean, it's profitable, and obviously, I mean, if Delcourt is publishing you, which is very Oh yeah, I always wanted to ask because you have this character who's a reference to Guy Delcourt, you know, the Gilbert de la Cour. Is he ever offended by this? Because he's a really nasty character.
He was very happy.
Okay, cool.
Yes. Many people wanted to be in dungeon. Many people, when I draw autobiographical comics, wanted to be in the autobiographical comics. And when I draw someone, he's very happy. Even if he's a bad character, he's happy.
Perfect. Lovely. Okay, I wanted to ask you maybe just to, because we have to let you go around in about 5 minutes, huh? Because you have to go out. I wanted to ask you, who's your, do you have like a really favorite character? I mean, I know you probably like all of your characters, but do you have like one that's like particularly close to you in Donjon?
I like the same character than Johan likes. We like together Grow.
Ah, yeah.
Because it's first degree of thinking.
Yeah.
We just want to eat rabbits, and that's all. So it's easy to work with that character. Yeah. We wanted to be Grogo because it's easy in his head.
Perfect. Okay, since we have to let you go soon, I'll just open the floor to the audience as well, if somebody has any questions. A ima kdo kakšno vprašanje za Luisa? Koga kaj zanima? Posebej. Kaj zdaj piše?
Moment.
Kaj zdaj piše?
Ne, zakaj?
Zakaj piše?
Sorry. Why is your last name like Norwegian city?
Okay. Why did you choose this nom de plume, Trondheim?
It's a long story. We don't have much time to. But I didn't like my first name, my name and I wanted to find something else. And I thought it was funny to pick up a tone name to have my name. And I remember I was in Trondheim when I was younger, and it was rainy and cloudy and cold. And I said, okay, it's fun. My name will be Trondheim.
But do people now call you Louis? I mean, your friends, do they call you Louis? Or
yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. Because I
That's
also
my wife and my parents.
Yeah.
But,
Okay. Wow. Cool. Še kakšno vprašanje? Aha.
Na kolikih koliko usporednih stripih dela trenutno?
Aha. Tanya, who I think is very impressed by your productivity, wants to know how many projects are you working on right now, for instance?
I don't know.
More or less.
I don't know, maybe 5, 6, 7.
Okay.
But I didn't choose to work on many books together. I just have to do them. So I started 2 different Lapino books. A new books of Lapino was out in August. After it will be in January. It's already finished, and I've done 6 pages of the after books of Lapino. So I don't like to be late in a book. I prefer to have. I don't like to have stress. I have to. I want to have fun. I want to be happy to do my work. I don't want to be forced to do comics, because if I don't have this kind of envy, this kind of energy, I will do bad comics. And usually when I'm doing writing for other cartoonists, they ask me for a scenario. Or I asked them, but I didn't. Sometimes I work for someone, and 7 years later, he finished the book. Some years I publish 2 or 3 books, and some years I publish 7 or 8 books.
Because of the lag.
Yes.
Cool. Še kakšno? Aha.
So how do you get ideas to continue the story?
How do you get ideas for?
How do you get ideas for continuing the story?
Did you hear that?
No.
It's the old, most typical question. How do you get ideas for a story?
Yes, it's a typical question. But it's usual when you don't write stories. Usually, you have to find a way to build a story. You ask every artist how do they work, how do they get the imagination. My imaginations came from my paranoia. It means when I do something with a character, I imagine the worst for him. The same way I imagine the worst for me in the real life. The worst arrive to the character, and I have to make the character avoid the worst, and it's the story.
Yeah.
So if you are not paranoiac, you can't do stories.
Yeah. Perfect.
And doing stories is like musculation. Yes. When you are bodybuilding, bodybuilding, you have to do bodybuilding every day. If you have to do good comics, you have to do good drawing every day. If you have to do good writing, you have to write every day. That's all.
Yeah. It's about being fit, being in shape. Yeah. Še eno vprašanje. I think this is the last question now.
Jaz kot fan Mr. O-ja pa Mr. I-ja me zanima, glede na to, da je abeceda vsebuje še ful enih črk, če je preigraval kakšne možnosti posamezne črke za Mr. X, recimo, in podobno.
Cool. A big fan of Mr. O and Mr. E is asking if the other letters of the alphabet have any chance of appearing anytime in the future.
I started a third book called Mr. M, and it will be a story with shit, because M is merde in France.
Okay.
And it will be only story with shit.
Okay.
And after I thought, I am 45 years old. Maybe I can do something else than shit stories. And I stopped.
Cool. I think he was suggesting an X. So, an X, maybe.
No.
No.
No X in my work.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Luis. We'll let you go. And I really hope that when all of this stuff clears up, maybe you'll be able to come to Ljubljana.
I will be very happy to come in Ljubljana.
Okay. We'll invite you again, and I hope to see you here someday. And really, thank you for taking the time to talk to us and for sending us the original work and everything. It was
my pleasure.
It was lovely having you, at least virtually. Thank you, Luis. Thank you. An applause.